Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. J. Thanks for joining me today. I know that my video looks a little different today because I'm actually sitting behind the camera. I'm not in front of the camera because I needed my laptop today to be able to share with you the information that I wanted to get to you directly, but I'm here. See, I can wave. Hi! But I have my phone right now scotch taped to an easel, which is pointing to my laptop, and I'm afraid if I jump in front of it, I'm gonna knock it and mess it all up. It took me a long time to get it this way, so I'm just gonna leave it where it is. And so for today, I'm just going to talk and you can just look at the things on the screen. So hopefully the words that I'm sure you've read by now look familiar to you. Habitat, I know, is a very familiar third grade word. But the other two words that are up there are biome and ecosystem. And I wanted to introduce you to those vocabulary words today to make sure that you knew that you could use all of them together when talking about habitats, because those words are all pretty much synonyms. And remember, synonyms are words that mean the same thing. So remember, the definition of a habitat is a place that's a natural home of a plant or an animal. So all the things there, plants and animals, can grow and live and survive together. A biome is pretty much the same thing. A definition of a biome is an environment that has common and unique features. Remember, we've talked about how different habitats can be. We've talked about forest habitats and Antarctic habitats and desert habitats and ocean habitats and how they can be so different. An ecosystem, a definition, is a community of interacting organisms and their environments. So interacting organisms would be the plants and animals that live there. Now, the thing that you also have to remember is that in a habitat, that would include the living things that are there and the non-living. So along with the plants and animals that live in a habitat or a biome or ecosystem, you also have to think about the non-living things that would be there, such as water, oxygen, soil, sand, or rocks. So basically, I just want you to think of all of those as synonyms, and you have to remember that that's where living and non-living things can grow and live and survive together. Now, in our journeys around the world as we visited different continents, you know that we've talked about lots of different kinds of habitats. There are some of them here. The list goes a little further down, and I'll get to those in just a second. But I just wanted to review them because some, depending on the continents and areas of the world that we've studied so far, we've talked a little bit more about than others. The first on our list is deserts. Then we have freshwater habitats, which would include rivers, creeks, lakes, ponds, streams, and swamps. Lots of freshwater areas in the world. Oceans, and you need to remember that there's actually three different parts or levels to the oceans. There's the deep ocean, there's the coral reef part of the ocean, and then the tide pool part of the ocean. Mountains are actually on every continent, believe it or not, and there's a variety of different kinds of mountains. Polar ice can either be the Arctic tundra or down in Antarctica, which of course we studied. The tropical rainforest, the temperate forest, which would be the kind of forests around where we lived, and when we went to Tinker Park, when we took our field trip in the fall, that would be a temperate forest. There's also another different kind of forest that I'm going to mention to you today. It's called the taiga forest. We talked about it a little bit when we did our forest unit. Those are forests that are way up high in the mountains. The forests that live above like the timberline area. So that's a special kind of forest. It's called a taiga forest. And then grasslands. Now, depending on where grasslands are located in the world, sometimes I like to divide them up when I talk to kids about it as green grasslands and brown grasslands. If you think about North America and you think about the prairies or the grasslands that we have, usually those are more like the green grasslands. And then if you think about Africa and the savanna, those are more of like the brown grasslands. So that's just kind of a different, an easy way for you to be able to tell them apart. And depending on where they're located in the world, they have different names. So you may hear the savanna of Africa, the pampas. In Europe and Asia, they're called steppes. In North America, sometimes they're called prairies. In Australia, sometimes they're called rangelands. So even one kind of habitat inside itself, depending on where it's located, can have lots of different names. So this week for your science activity, and also for social studies, because you're going to be investigating and discovering lots of information about habitats. That's the science part. But the social studies comes in because depending on where those habitats are located around the world, if it's in a different continent or if it's in the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, eastern hemisphere, western, that's where the social studies comes in. So this is a mixed unit this week of science and social studies together. So one of the first things I wanted to show you, and I wanted to put this on video so that you would be able to get to these sites and these locations exactly where I wanted you to be, is the first thing you need to do is you need to get to the launch zone. So you can either bring that up through Google and do like Fairport Central School District Launchpad, or you can go right to the JA website and you can get to the launch zone. But the first place that I wanted you to go is National Geographic Kids, and I'm hoping if you did a little Asia research last week, you've already been to this website, so you're a little familiar with it. So the first thing I want you to do is to go into National Geographic Kids, and you're going to go up to the top to the yellow search bar, and you're going to hit search. And you're simply going to click your mouse. I'm going to have to reach around here to type. I want you to type habitats and click the search box. Now you'll see a whole bunch of different yellow boxes come up, and as I scroll down them, you'll see, and hopefully you're familiar with, the different habitats that are listed. If you go up to the top, this habitat box is kind of nice because this is a general menu that has all of the habitats together. So you can just click on whichever habitat that you would like to get to. So they're all listed there. However, if you'd like to keep better track of them, I don't know, and you want to just go through them one by one, you can click on them separately. Now, I really like the National Geographic Kids website because I think they have beautiful pictures. I think the PebbleGo Next also has great pictures, but I just really, you can look through the slideshow here and you can see there's a narwhal. Aren't they cute? Oh, little polar bear, baby polar bear, and a seal. So you can get through all the different pictures of some of the animals in a polar habitat. It will tell you the definition of a habitat, where it's located. It will give you the climate and the seasons and the weather. It will tell you about things that can grow in this habitat. It will tell you about the animals in the habitat, and then if you go down, you can get to other habitats this way, but what I like to do is go back up to the top, or you can X out of this and just get to the next habitat. So if I wanted to go to rainforest, for example, there's another little slideshow with more animals. It'll tell you more about it. Now, remember, every habitat is unique, so every section won't have exactly the same categories of information as every other habitat. Just like habitats are varied, the information about them is varied too. So this is the importance of light in the rainforest. Famous rainforests around the world. Trees just don't live there. Oh, there's a cute little sloth, a sloth video. So as you go through National Geographic for Kids, you can go through each of the habitats here, and this is one way you can search habitats specifically to get information about them. And then there's also lots of other different resources and articles if you scroll down a little bit more. So if you want to use National Geographic for kids, that's definitely a great way to search. Just put habitats in the search bar and you'll be all set. The other resource that I want you to use is PebbleGo Next. So if you click on PebbleGo Next, we're going to go to the science icon, because this is mostly science. Then you will go to life science. and then you will click on life in an ecosystem. So here's our first example of where we're using those 3 vocabulary words as synonyms. So we're going to click on life as an ecosystem. And then look, biomes. So in one slide they call it an ecosystem, and then the next slide they call it a biome. And this is really great. There's lots of information here, beautiful pictures. Here's the mountain, the forest area that I was telling you about. This is called taiga. That's how you pronounce that. And I really like PebbleGo Next because just like in our Scholastic News that we listen to every week, these articles also have a read aloud feature, which is kind of nice because if you look across the top here, these articles are really long and you can tell there's little chapters. So this is about the climate, this is about the different trees, this is about the soil and plants, and then animals, and then the people that live there, and then there's always a video at the end that you can look at. So all you have to do if you want to have the article read to you, just click on the little sound icon.
The taiga is one of the largest biomes on Earth. Taiga means marshy pine forest in Russian.
Okay, so all you have to do is click and unclick the reading icon, and then that will help you listen to it. So you don't have to be worried about if there's longer words you don't know or if there's vocabulary that you can't pronounce. Don't worry about that. Just listen to it and the narrator will read it for you. So, and there's gorgeous pictures. Look at that. That is a forest in Russia. That doesn't even look like a real picture. It's so beautiful. Looks like somebody painted it. But here's a section on the climate in that habitat. Here is a section about the trees that live in that habitat, what the soil and the plants are like, animals that live there. Where's our, oh, look at that. Ooh, a brown bear. Wouldn't want to cross paths with him. People, oh, it looks like they've done a little clear cutting in that forest area. And then down at the bottom, you can see there's a little video. They're usually about 15 or 20 seconds, and they just give you a little live snapshot of what life in that habitat is like. So if we get out of this, let's see. So we've got oceans, all the different habitats here are caves, deserts, grasslands. Here's our green grasslands and our brown grasslands, savannas. There's mountains, oceans. Here's rainforests. So we had the rainforest, the taiga forest, and then down here, temperate forests, tundras, and wetlands. And wetlands would be all of those freshwater examples that I shared with you. So PebbleGo Next is a great resource that tells you everything you need to know about the climate, the location, the environment, the plants and trees, the animals, and the non-living things that are there, like water sources, and soil and rocks and sand. So this is an excellent resource for you to get information. So I'm going to backtrack out of this because I don't want to lose, my launch zone. Now, in addition to PebbleGo Next, which is kind of the intermediate, this is for like grades 3, 4, and 5, you can also go to PebbleGo, which has the same information. Remember the login for this is Jeff Av, and then school is the password. It keeps mine for me. It might keep yours for you too, I don't know. So you're going to log into science. You're going to go to life sciences. And then animals. Oops, it's going to read it to us. And we're going to go to
animal habitat.
Oops, I'm going to mute my friendly little narrator. Okay, so he's narrated. So here you can see basically the same habitats. However, it's a little bit simpler. There's only one photo, and the facts are a little bit smaller and shorter, but they're just as good. There's a lot of really unique, simple, different facts that are in PebbleGo that aren't necessarily in PebbleGo Next. So just because you've read Next doesn't mean that everything here is still the same. Okay, so desert animals. So, ooh, they have bodies that help them save water. A reptile, like the Gila monster, does not sweat. Its skin keeps water inside the body. Now that sounds like the perfect adaptation for an animal who has to live in the desert, right? That doesn't have a lot of access to water sources. So, and here's camels, nighttime, birds. Oh, look at that owl. He's living in a cactus. And then there's always a little video down here that you can watch too. Oh, what's this little guy gonna do? Oh, he looks like a little road runner. So I don't think there's any sound with the videos. I couldn't get any sound. Maybe you can get sound. Sometimes you guys are a little bit more tech savvy than I am. Oh, there he goes. He's gonna run away. Maybe his mother's calling him. He's in trouble. He's got to go home. So there he goes. So there's an example of the videos. So that's PebbleGo. So you can also look how animals affect habitats here. You can look for grassland, ocean, polar, woodland, wetland, and rainforest. There was one other source that I wanted to show you, and we haven't really used it very much in 3rd grade. We maybe did a couple times. It's BrainPOP. BrainPOP is kind of fun. I saw that they did have a few different lessons. I think I went in Earth Systems. Here we go. And then like here's a video on deserts. So BrainPOP is kind of cute. I think I'm going to have to unmute my sound. Uh-oh, login. The login is Jefferson Ave School for BrainPOP. So you know, hi. Here we go. It doesn't want to play desert. Oh, water. Yes it does. There we go.
Water. Huh. Dear Tim and Moby, what makes a desert so hot? From Wailing.
Okay, so BrainPOP always kind of starts off with a question, kind of like Mystery Doug does in Mystery Science, and then you can watch any of the videos, and there's a lot of other good resources here too. So I don't think every habitat is here, but there are a few of them that you can find. There's Everglades. I think I did see there's ocean floor. Oh, there's taiga. We heard that word again. There's tundra. So tropical rainforest. So they are in BrainPOP Junior too. So if you want to also use this as a resource, BrainPOP is kind of fun, and they're nice and short. So Tim and Moby.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe it'll clear up. Meanwhile, let's see if we can answer this question. Dear Tim and Moby, what is the importance of the rainforest? From R. Petrochenko.
Okay, so that's just a little introduction to BrainPOP if you want to go there to do a little bit of research also. So let's get back to, here we go. So you have lots of different choices for researching and investigating habitats. And I want you to take some time this week and really become familiar, because I know that we, in our explorations of continents around the world that we've done so far, we really have focused, depending on the area in the world where we were, on some habitats more than others. So I really want you to take the opportunity this week to become familiar with all the different types of habitats. And I want you to be thinking about maybe which habitat you really like the best, or which habitat is your favorite, because you're going to need that for me next week for a really special project that we're going to be working on together that I think you're going to like. And you're going to have your favorite habitat picked out. Now, right now off the top of your head, you might already think you know which habitat you like best, but you never know. You might be pleasantly surprised this week when you do more investigating on different kinds of habitats that you're not familiar with. You might surprise yourself and find another kind of habitat that you really like, that you didn't know you liked until you found out about it. So do some investigating this week, and I will be touching base with you about your habitat learning later in the week. So get busy and have fun and use the resources that you have available to you. And remember, anytime if you have any questions, email me. Okay? Bye. I'll give you a little wave. See ya.